Long, long ago, in a land called Babylon, a special baby was born. He came from the family of the first prophets, and his name was Idrees. His name meant to study and to teach, and that's exactly what he was born to do. The world was still very young, but people were already starting to forget the ways of God. They were becoming selfish and mean, and they didn't live together in peace. So God sent Idrees to be their teacher and guide. Idrees had many amazing gifts, which were really miracles from God. He was the very first person in the world to learn how to write with a pen. Before him, stories and important lessons were only spoken, and sometimes they would get forgotten. But Idrees could write them down on scrolls. God gave him 30 special scrolls filled with wisdom, and he would read them to his people. He was also a great builder. He taught people how to come together and build the first cities with strong walls so they could live safely. He was the first person to figure out how to make clothes by sewing pieces of fabric together. Before him, people just wore animal skins. But the most wonderful thing was how he worked. Idrees was a tailor, and his sewing was a beautiful prayer. With every single push of the needle into the cloth, he would whisper a prayer of praise to God. With every pull of the thread, he would whisper a prayer of thanks. His whole day was filled with remembering God, and it was said that no one on earth was more loved by God than him. One day, a wicked king who ruled the land told everyone they had to bow down to him instead of God. Idrees was brave and said, "No." The king was furious, but Idrees prayed to God for help. Suddenly a strange miracle happened. The sky became clear and it stopped raining. For years and years, not a single drop fell. The rivers dried up, the plants withered, and the people grew hungry. They realized their king had no power at all. They begged Idrees to help them. So the king and all the people finally agreed to worship God alone. The moment Idrees prayed for them, clouds filled the sky and wonderful life-giving rain poured down. Idrees was also very wise. Once the devil, Iblis, came to him disguised as a man. Iblis asked a tricky question. "You say God is all-powerful. Can he fit this whole giant world in the tiny little hole in your sewing needle?" Idrees knew this was a trick. He didn't even stop sewing. He just took his needle, gave Iblis a little poke with it, and said, "God is so powerful, he can not only fit the world in a needle's eye, he can fit you in there too." Iblis was so surprised and embarrassed that he ran away. Idrees was so good and so close to God that one of the angels from heaven became his best friend. Idrees loved God so much that he wished he could live longer just to praise him more. His angel friend told him that everyone has a time to die, but offered to take him on a trip to the heavens. As they flew up into the sky, they met the angel of death in the fourth heaven. The angel of death was very surprised. He said, "God just told me to take the soul of Idrees in the fourth heaven. I was wondering how he would get here from earth." And right at that moment, God let Idrees feel what it was like to die for just a second, and then he was alive again. After that amazing event, Idrees asked to see the gardens of paradise. When he stepped inside, it was more beautiful than anything he could have ever imagined. When it was time to go, Idrees smiled and said he would like to stay. The angels were confused, but Idrees explained with perfect logic. "God's rule says everyone has to taste death, and I have. God's rule says everyone must pass by the bridge over hell, and I have. And God's rule says that whoever enters paradise gets to stay forever. So I am staying." God heard his smart and truthful words, and he agreed. This final and most incredible miracle is his ascension into heaven. It is a story so special and true that it is mentioned in Islam's holy book, the Quran, which says, God raised him to a high station. It is also told in the Christian Bible and the Jewish Torah, where it is said that this prophet, known there as Enoch, walked with God and then he was no more because God took him. He was born around 6,000 years ago, but he never really had a death on earth. Instead, he walked so closely with God that he simply walked right into heaven to be with him forever.